Good afternoon. Today is the 4th of November. For once we're actually making a video on the day of release, which I haven't done in quite a long time actually. And we're in the Sanyong today, which doesn't really get used an awful lot for videos because it's quite dark in here, like a lot of modern cars. But anyway, I thought we'd try it today because unlike our other car, which you can see over there, this actually appears on the SMMT current manufacturers list. So if we're talking about the top 10 best-selling cars of October 2021, then that's probably a better place to do things. Last time we made this video I was not in the best of health. Hopefully I sound a bit better than I did then. Literally the figures for October 2021 in terms of the registrations for new cars in this country have been released. They were released about 3 or 4 hours ago. So yes, I thought we'd go through them as we usually do at some point during the month. It's not been again a particularly vintage month for new car sales or registrations. I say sales because it's easier to remember. The word is a lot shorter, although it is technically registration. So if you hear the two terms used, then that's why we do that. I just had a look at the figures for 2019 and 2020 for October, and they're broadly very similar. It's quite surprising actually, probably because in October a lot of the manufacturers and dealers knew that we were going into a second lockdown, and they were trying to sell as many cars as possible when they knew they weren't going to be able to do so for a while. And it turned out to be quite a long time. It was a long time that we were in that sort of third lockdown, that weird period before Christmas when we were told we could only have sort of one other person or something, or not stay with anybody or whatever it was at the end of last year. Well, they were sort of selling cars, and then we went into the big third lockdown. So October was quite a big month for sales last year, only just really behind 2019. But 2021, it's kind of the same as September 2021. A lot of these things have been caused by, fuel shortages, which has driven even more sales of electric cars, chip shortages, which mean that a lot of new cars are not being sold as quickly as they would otherwise be, and second-hand car prices are very high too, because people would rather maybe just have things sitting there on the forecourt than wait up to 6 to 9 months for a new car, which is not uncommon now. So yeah, that means less discounts available and big shortages. We were going to actually film some pre-jacket reviews at a particular dealership, which I won't mention because there's no point actually in mentioning that. But we were actually told by the dealership, this was a couple of months ago, we were all set to do it, but they said we don't have any stock to sell. So if you were to advertise our cars, which we're very happy for you to do, we don't have any stock of any of them. So we would have a bit of a problem. It's a funny problem to have, isn't it? But this is really what's happening. This is the truth. And this is why when I say that something like, used car prices are rising by about 12% a month at the moment. Some sources say even more like 20. This is why you see crazy prices for used cars. Just can't get hold of them. And a manufacturer like Ford, that we'll get into, has been particularly affected by this. And the Fiesta has dropped from the country's best-selling car to the 5th best-selling car with 2 months of the year to go. So I don't really think that's going to change anytime soon. But let's look at the sort of mixture of fuel sources, which I have to say, because it's not just, there are some forbidden fuel or diesel cars and some are petrol. It's not the same. It's not the case anymore at all. So forbidden fuel, start off with those. Not a lot sold last month, only 7,000. That's a minus 66% change. The market share was 15% in October 2020. Last month was 6.6%. No wonder we don't talk about those on the channel. Mild hybrid, actually, there's only about 2,500 less of those sold. I mean, they're not really a bit. Mild hybrid diesels are not a big sort of sector of the market particularly, but they've gone from a pretty steady 4.3 last year to 4.2 last month. That's a 26% decrease. However, that's because the market is down overall by 25%, which is interesting. So it's stayed quite consistent in terms of the overall market. Petrol, a big decrease, which may be explained by lower sales in general, but also just by buying preferences now for more electrification, driven by things like European emission standards and public opinion and that kind of thing. Not necessarily bad at it, to go to electric cars, and we have the ban that's coming for new fossil fuel cars, apart from some hybrids in 2030, not only 9 years to go. So it's not much surprising, but they used to be under 50% of the market, because a lot of cars until about 2014-15 were forbidden fuel. So there we go. But the market share has dropped from 49% to about 45%, and that's a 30% decrease as well because of the 25% decrease overall in sales. Mild hybrid petrol, 11.4 to 12.4% of the market, although the overall change in registrations is about 18% down. Battery electric vehicles, everything's increased. Market share has jumped from last year 6.6% to 15.2%. I'll say that again. Market share between October 2020 and October 2021 has gone from 6.6% to 15.2%. That's a 73% increase. They sold more than double the number of pure electric cars last month than they did forbidden fuel ones. Forbidden fuel 7,000, battery electric 16,155. No wonder we don't talk about diesels on the channel. We hope they won't be able to sell them at all soon. It looks like that's not even legislation, that's just public preferences and everything else. Mild hybrid, plug-in hybrid. This is despite the fact there's no government grant incentive at all for plug-in hybrids anymore. There's none of that. That's gone from 5.5% of the market to 7.9% last month, 7.5% increase, and they sold more of those forbidden fuel as well, about 8,400. Hybrid electric cars, and this is just things like the standard Kia Niro and the standard Toyota Prius, things like that, gone from 7.8 to 8.1% of the market, or about a 21% decrease on last year in terms of the number of overall registrations because of the market being down by 25%. But a big market sector now. So we'll look at the private, fleet and business sectors as we always do. Private has increased its market share again to 55% from 43%. But it's a minus 3% change anyway because of the general downward trend in the market. Fleet sales have gone from 54% to about 43%. So they have actually decreased by about 40%. Business is nothing really. It's gone from 2.3% to 1.7%. It's a 45% decrease. So not the best month really to be selling cars. Let's have a look at the top 10 best sellers. That's probably why you're here anyway, because that's the title of the video. Top is a Volkswagen Polo. Volkswagen doing much better than Ford at the moment. Second is a Mini. These are all just about 3,100 cars sold, and the next is the Qashqai. I think that's probably the new one coming in now. There'll be discounted stock of the old one, I imagine. It's a very big seller for this in this country. That's about 2,800. Fourth is the Ford Focus. In contrast to the Fiesta, the Focus, presumably they've got more of those available than the Fiestas. 2,700. The Corsa's in fifth, which is currently Britain's top selling car. 2,600. Then sixth for Kia Niro. Obviously there's hybrid, plug-in hybrid and fully electric versions of that available. 2,500. Then Volvo Xc40. Again, there are, I think, mild hybrid, full electric and plug-in hybrid versions of that available. About 2,450. Then Mercedes-Benz A-Class, no stranger to the top 10 really. Mercedes sold a lot of A-Classes because of the high residual values. 2,300. And the Peugeot 2008, I have absolutely no idea why the Peugeot 2008 would be in the top 10, but it is. Not had to see the Peugeot top 10 for quite a while. Maybe it's because of the E 2008, I don't know. About 2000, and then 10th, again, not an uncommon car to see in the list, Hyundai Tucson. We do like our Hyundais and Kias in this country at the moment, and that's 1849 in 10th place. So now it's my favourite part of the video. We look at to see how manufacturers overall have been doing in the last month. I have got it on the right page this time. So bear in mind the market's down about 25%. So anything above minus 25% is very good. We start in alphabetical order, so we always start with Abarth. I've only got one model, which is variants on the 595 and 695. 49% down. Market share is now 0.11. It was 0.16 a year ago, and only sold 114 cars. Not the best start, but often Abarth doesn't have great figures in this country. Alfa Romeo, though, is better. It's really strange. They've actually sold more cars than last October. Their market share has gone up from 0.1 to 0.14. And that's about a 3% change, which is very good. I do have a soft spot for Alfa Romeos, like I think a lot of you do. Audi, not good. Same thing we'll see with BMW and Mercedes. The so-called premium brands in this country, the German ones, aren't doing very well. They are not really premium though, because they sell so many cars. BMW have outsold Vauxhall this month. And Ford. That just goes to show they're not really premium brands anymore, are they, if they outsell Vauxhall and Ford? But nevertheless, they've got decreases in sales. I think they're having supply problems, like a lot of manufacturers are. So Audi's down 40%. Their market share's gone from 8.1% to about 6.4%. Their figures for the number of cars they sold are almost identical to Ford. Actually, Audi have sold 12 cars more than Ford, even in the market where they're about 40% down. BMW 20. We'll go with Bentley next. We'll skip Alpine because the figures are so small. Bentley 90% down. Well, that's better than it was. Market share is still about the same, but they only sold 92 cars last month. BMW far more relevant, minus 28% in terms of number of sales. 7.6% of the market's gone down to 7.3%, and yes, 7,800 cars sold pretty much. Citroën, pretty good, only a 2% drop, and the market should actually increase from 1.7 to 2.2. Very good. Cupra, we can't confirm with last year because we don't recall the figures. Dacia, I did like the Sandero Stepway that we featured on the channel. I think it was at the end of September we did that. That's a pretty nice car actually for the money. 5.3% increase, gone from 0.9% of the market to 1.2%. It's very good. DS, I wouldn't be surprised if they stopped selling DS over here at some point, to be honest. They only sold 100 cars last month. 0.14% last year. Last month, 0.09. It was 0.14. It's now 0.09. Number of cars is almost halved. Fiat, not too bad considering they haven't really bought anything new out apart from the 500 electric for quite some time. So it's minus 18% decrease. Was 1.15% of the market, it's now 1.24%, and that's about 1,300 cars sold. Ford, not good. Not good at all. Minus 47%. It was a 9.2% market share last year. It's now 6.4%. And the number of cars is almost halved. Genesis, we can't really compare because we don't have any figures for 2020. Honda, minus 23%. Market share stayed about the same. It was 1.5, it's now 1.53, and about 1,600 cars sold. So we still do like our Hondas over here. We like our Hondas even more though. 34% increase. Was a last year, this is crazy, 2.9% market share. It's now 5.1. 5.1. The market share of a Hyundai has almost doubled in a year. Crazy. Haven't quite sold as many cars as Ford, but they're not far off. About 5,500, something like that. Jaguar, get another one of these so-called premium brands that are trying to sort of just sell loads and loads of cars and don't really care who they sort of sell them to, which is what they used to do. Was 1.28% of the market, now it's 0.57%, and they only sold 600 cars. The market share has gone down by 2/3 in terms of the number of cars sold, 1,800 to 600. Jeep is not particularly good either. Was 0.3% of the market, now 0.26%. And number of cars is down by 40%. Kia, like Hyundai, massive increase. Kia have massively outsold Ford for the month. And Vauxhall, I think, too, if I just check. Yes, massively outsold Ford and Vauxhall. 22% increase. They were 4.3% of the market. They're now 7%. And 7,500 cars sold. Land Rover, similar to Jaguar, I believe they are the same company. The decrease is almost exactly the same, but wow, they were selling a lot more cars. They were 3.4% of the market, they're now 1.5%. They must be having some very bad supply issues. 1,610 cars sold. Lexus kind of is a premium brand actually, although they're in the same market segment as all the others, because they don't sell many cars over here, and they don't really seem to be bothered about selling them to absolutely everyone. Minus 30%, 0.68% market share, now 0.63%. So a decrease, but not a massive one really. Maserati though, they've had quite a month. A 76% increase from 46 to 81 cars, and a market share has gone from 0.03 to 0.08. No idea why. Mazda, a 40% decrease. It's not unusual. 1.1% of the market, now 1.24%, and about 1,300 cars sold. That's not bad. Mercedes-Benz outsold by Kia this month. 37% decrease, was 7.7% of the market, now 6.45%, and the sales are about 6,900. MG, no surprise, massive gain in market share from 1.34 to 2.2. So they're much bigger than Mazda now at the moment. 2,339 cars sold, 24% increase. No surprise there. Mini, 1.9% increase. They must be doing very well, unlike BMW, actually. They're doing very well. 3% of the market, now 4% of the market. It's probably why the Mini is at the number 2 spot for this month. Mitsubishi, we decided to skip over that because they've stopped selling cars in this country. They recorded no sales at all last month. That must be the end of it then. Nissan, not doing too badly, about 8% decrease. But market share, though, has dropped quite significantly. It was 3.8, it's now 4.6. Peugeot did better than Nissan. 3.86% decrease. So not too bad. Their sales have actually stayed quite steady. It's gone down from 5,300 to 5,100. But their market share has increased from 3.8 to 4.8. Polestar, I don't tend to really count Polestar, to be honest. They're quite a niche brand. Porsche, they've gone from 0.88% of the market to 1.5%, and they sold 1,650 cars last month. That's pretty good, actually. 34% increase. Renault, about the same down as Porsche were up. Sort of 32% decrease. It's not too much of a market share drop, down to about 2% of the market, but they've gone from 3,000 to 2,100 cars. Seat and Skoda tend to have the same sort of sales in this country, and I think they have been affected by the supply chain issues. Seat's gone down by 30%. The market share has not dropped that much. It's gone down from 2.5 to 2.3, and about 2,500 cars sold. Skoda actually normally outsell Seat massively. They've had a 60% decrease in sales for some reason. I don't think it's just the fact that they've due to the February state. It's probably more to it than that. They've gone from 4% of the market to about 2.1. It's insane. Massive decrease. Smart, again, not a massive player in this country. They only sold 150 cars a month. SsangYong, for once, have had an increase in their sales. I'm very happy because I'm sitting in a SsangYong at the moment. 74% increase from 0.06% of the market to 0.14%, the same as Smart, funnily enough, and 152 cars sold. That's more than Subaru, 130 cars sold, 0.12% of the market. They again have had a big increase, 31%. They've gone up from 0.07% of the market. Funny thing about SsangYong is they sell a far larger range of cars than Subaru do. Subaru only really sell like 2 models in this country. It's the XV and the Outback or the Forester. I can't remember which one it is. It just shows you how much I know about them, although they're huge in America. Suzuki, not too bad, 2.25% of the market, but MG have sold like double number of cars that they have, which just shows you where they come from. Although Suzuki have increased their market share substantially, it's gone up to 1.2% from 0.88%. Toyota, a big player in this country now, not as massive as last month, but certainly not small. They've gone from 5.6% of the market to 4.8%, and about 5,000 cars sold. So 36% decrease. Vauxhall, 27% decrease. Market share is very steady though. It's gone from 5.88 to 5.74, and about 6,100 cars sold. Volkswagen, again, biggest player on the market in this country. I think will topple forward this year. 24% decrease though, which is bang on average. Gone from 12,000 cars to 9,000 cars sold, so it just shows you how much the market's decreased in a year. But yeah, 8.5% of the market was 8.47%, so not a massive change there. Volvo actually haven't done too badly. 90% decreased, it's above average. 4% of the market now 4.33%, and 4,200 cars sold, although that is a decrease in number of ones sold by about 90%. Other imports, which is normally Tesla, obviously not a massive batch coming in this month, unlike last month. 72% decrease. So 106,000 cars sold last month in comparison with October 2020, it was 140,000 cars sold, and about a 25% decrease overall. So there we go, there's my monthly rant about the top 10 best-selling cars of October 2021. I hope that you found this informative. If you didn't, you probably already turned off by now anyway. So yes, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below. Please be nice. It is, named as a rant or a vlog, which is pretty much what it is. And yes, that's it. And we'll see you again for more entertainment next month.